Hi, and welcome to Happy Fisherman Adventures.
I hope, I dream, I wish to catch a big fish, and I do it when I can. I'm a happy fisherman, and I do it when I can. I'm a happy fisherman.
Today's episode is from 1st of May 2022, and it's all about catching squid at Clifton Springs.
That's right, and we ended up there by accident because we actually took off from Werribee going in 20 meters of water just to try to find some gummy or to find some snapper. And as we got there, the anchor wouldn't work, so I couldn't drop the anchor, so the only option we had is actually to go and do some drifting. So I ended up drifting for squid. We stopped first at Prince George, but not much. We only got a couple, and they were small. And then we ended up at Clifton Springs.
Yes, and we did really good at Clifton Springs. We ended up drifting next to the pylons. We backed out in no time, basically, and we used a few different jigs. The best jig for me always is the black Yamashita.
Solid black, yeah.
Solid black. And we were using a few other...
Yeah, Jerry had the pink RPF or whatever it's called again, and that worked perfectly. We tried the Clicks jig, which was the white with red head. That worked as well. And the squid was quite big as well.
Even the banana.
Yeah, the Shimano banana. That's the only bananas allowed on my boat, is that Shimano banana squid jig. That's it. So, well, let's just watch this video. You'll see exactly the location. You'll see what happened, and yeah, enjoy. It was 11 AM and our mission was to go 20 meters depth, chasing some gummies or even some snapper. Few more happy fishermen were leaving Werribee and some were already on their way back. So here we go, 18 kilometers away from the boat ramp, and so far everything looked promising. Well, as we got in 20 meter depth, we sounded around, and then this. The anchor wouldn't work. I already got a new Lone Star GX2 HD ready to install, but Mixed Marine Workshop has been very busy and I'm just waiting my turn. So, drifting for some squid was our backup plan. First stop was Prince George, but it was very slow, so we ended at Clifton Springs. Here we drifted on the west side of the old pier. Before you know, Jerry was on. He was using the RPF squid jig in bright pink color. Well, that was good start and very promising. Then as we landed this one, on the other side of the boat, Mima was on another one. This one took the solid black jig. The very next cast, one more on the solid black jig. Well, this squid came with an attitude. It was a nice ink shower that got me, Jerry, and the whole boat. Oh well, happens. Well, it was time to take the shirt off, try to soak it in the water and let it dry. Today the squid was quite aggressive and most of them kept squirting all over the place. One thing to keep in mind, try to clean the boat straight away. It can be a nightmare to clean it later. Saying that, we were getting them left, right and center. Just about every drift we had 6-7 squid on average. So far the solid black jig did most of the damage. In this area we normally use 3.0 size jigs, but if the tide flows fast, then we would upsize to 3.5. In meantime, I normally put some new jigs to test. This time was the Clicks jig that was on the menu. This jig was still size 3.0 and it was white jig with red head. The pink RPF jig and the solid black jig were consistent, but saying that, the Clicks white jig actually proved to be successful as well. Pretty quick we managed to get our bag limit, and then it was time to rinse them, take some photos and then clean them by putting them in Hookem Skylar bag. I normally remove the head, then cut about 10 mil from the end of the hood, and that will clean them inside out. All I can say, this Hookem Skylar bag, it's a lifesaver. In the very next clip, I'm gonna just show you what I do with the squid heads. So we don't basically use the whole squid head for the snapper or gummy, but actually I trim it a little bit and I leave some stuff for King George whiting, for yuccas, for pinkies, and then obviously I leave stuff for snapper and gummy. So let's have a look. We know this is delicious to eat, but sometimes you need to have fresh bite for your next adventure. So to get the most out of it, we remove all the guts and first we cut the 2 square pieces that connect the head to the body. And then the best part, long feeding tentacles. These are nice and soft and King George whiting loves them. Next, we also cut few of so-called sucker tentacles as well. Again, they make a great bite. One thing we do is leave few attached to the head, and that is what we would use for snapper, gummy and other species. Then we put them in a Ziploc bags and straight in the freezer.
The next video is from the 1st of April 2021. We actually went a year back to be able to show you what happens in St. Leonard's around this time of the year.
That's right, like you'll see lots of King George whiting. They're not that big, but lots. We got plenty yakas. There was yakas under the boat. You'll see them on the camera. Plus, I'm gonna show a close-up of how do I put the bite on the hooks and how I do my rigs. So yeah, enjoy. Launched at very early afternoon, we made our first stop at Prince George Marker to chase some squid. The water was unreal. I did not even set up my cameras, Mima was on. The squid was quite small, but that was all we needed for a fresh bite later on at St. Leonard's chasing King George whiting. Water was very clear and we could spot squid above grass patches. It felt a bit like a visual fishing. We managed around a dozen squid. The best jig for the day was Jerry's Shimano PRF orangey color, and Mima was getting them on our all-time favorite Yamashita solid black, size 30. As it was already getting late, we took off to our marker in front of St. Leonard's 6-meter depth. Best results lately catching King George whiting we had on Paternoster rig. Black Magic, Hayabusa or Redis are your best choice. This time we were using Redis rigs, and there is a bit of a trick to this rig. King George whiting feed very low in the water column, basically on the bottom. This rig comes with an extensive amount of line where you attach your sinker. The trick is to make sure you make your loop around 10 centimeters past the bottom hook, so your hook sits all the way down to the bottom. Well, I always say don't put all your eggs in one basket. While chasing King George whiting at St. Leonard's, it's a good idea to have a squid jig down. Most of the time, you will catch them. Okay, another thing that worked great for us is the way I bait my hook. Small square piece of squid pushed all the way up the hook. And I top it up with a small square piece of pilchard. My hook is totally exposed, and some people would say that's not good, but the result speaks for himself.
depending on the day, you do need to improvise and work out what's the best for you. One day pipis are the best, next day pipis with a squid cocktail, another day just long strip of squid. Today, small square of squid and pilchard was the go. Another trick was not to react on the first bite, but slowly leave the rod and wind slowly back. That produced a second bite, which was more aggressive, and because we use Mutu circle hooks, fish was hooked straight away. Even the top paternoster hook we would load exactly the same. Small square of squid and pilchard. In all honesty, the top hook majority of times will just get yakas, tommy ruff and other fish, but we did get King George whiting on it as well. Sometimes we even get double hookups on paternoster. In the meantime, we had Daniel fishing right next to us. I did tell him that pilchard was the key for us. In no time, they start catching as well. Amazing how many yakas under the boat. More amazing is how we get so much whiting. At one stage, they just kept coming. We did get few yakas as well, but mainly on the top hook. The key was to have a burley bucket on the side of the boat and throw 5 to 10 meters away from the boat. Yakas would accumulate at the burley bucket, so we target whiting away from the boat. This is how small I cut my squid. With the pilchard, I would take a fillet, slice the fillet long ways in half, and after that I would cut it in small cubes. I put the squid first, then I put the pilchard. To make it easier, I use the flesh side of the pilchard first and then penetrate through the skin. Again, still plenty yakas around the burley bucket, but we're still catching whiting. After a while, we had enough fish, so we started taking some fancy video footage. There are lots of other species passing by, like this stingray and pufferfish, but few times on camera we got this small fish called silver belly. They normally travel in a big school. As whiting slowed down a bit, we spotted garfish on the surface. A small long shank hook with a small slice of fresh yaka fillet worked a treat. I normally would target them on silverfish, but that is hard to find lately. Squid, maggots or small piece of flathead flesh works good as well. one more waiting for the day. As the sun was on its way down, it was time to get back to the ramp.
All right, something different. Last night was our first public appearance at Greenvale Fishing Club, and what an amazing experience.
It was great. Last night we met so many really nice people, and there were lots of kids that are involved in fishing. To see the community getting together like that is just amazing.
It was amazing how many people admire our show and how many people couldn't wait to see us, which surprised us a bit. Actually, some people come from the other side of the town that actually they were not even part of this crowd, but they were welcomed by the president of the club. And they enjoyed the night. We actually had a big tuna talk because they're going to have a competition in June. So obviously we explain what's going on important at the moment, and let's have a bit of look around. I suppose I'm just going to show you some clips.
Guys, tonight, as you can see, our special guest, Tim, the Happy Fisherman, and Mima, the Happy Fisherwoman. And with 162 centimetre in total, it's all ready. That's the famous ukulele, so yeah. You ready?
Yes, everybody.
Everybody, yeah. So, simplicity. I hope, dream, I wish. To catch a big fish. And I do it when I can. I'm a happy fisherman. And I do it when I can. I'm a happy fisherman. Now the whole idea of Happy Fisherman is basically to share, and I just seen today from obviously your president here, and I just spoke to him before. It feels like a family atmosphere, like everybody gets involved and everybody puts their heart in, and that's fishing is something about being happy, simple as that. So yes, we catch a lot of fish, but sometimes we catch donuts. So don't feel disheartened or whatever if you don't catch fish on the day. But you'll see the birds, and that gave in. So we were everybody started trolling. We were traveling around trying to find the birds, and that straight away after that we had one, then we had another one, and then the third one took off. So don't stop. If you got a hookup, give it another, not too long, but I would say 15 to 30 seconds. If you go too long, it'll pull you out. If we can help, we'll be there. All right, thank you. Well, there you go. Tippy, Mima, thank you very much.
Before we go, I would like to say thank you to all the people that bought some of our shirts, and yeah, please subscribe to our YouTube channel and suppose or follow us on Facebook.
And thank you for watching. We will see you next time.
I hope, I dream, I wish to catch a big fish.